Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday morning, live from Long Island, man, with my guest host, Tom Mele, and me, David Gussin. Good morning, Mr. Tom Mele. How you doing today, buddy?
You know what? I got to ask you before we start. I'm impressed.
You're impressed? Why is that?
Either you lost the razor or you're growing something for the winter. What's the story?
Hey, listen, if people know anything, they know razors are expensive. Nah, I came off the Jewish holiday week, had that thing of not shaving, so I said,
Is that true? I mean, now,
which part?
Because you know, my Rich Coleman is Jewish. I'm not Jewish, even though I try to follow it. But you can't shave during, what is it? What was the past Jewish?
Rosh Hashanah.
Rosh Hashanah. You can't shave during Rosh
Hashanah? No, I'm not saying, I wouldn't want to, I have no right to be an authority on the rules of the Jewish holidays, but I would think it's a day. I don't think the gentlemen shave on the Jewish holiday. You know, you're not supposed to use electric. It's funny, with social media, it's not really an electrical thing, but I'm pretty sure you shouldn't be using social media either on the holidays if you're a religious Jew.
So, but you did.
I'm not a super religious Jew, but certainly respect. Didn't shave. I use any excuse
so you're like
not to shave.
Halfway.
I don't shave on the Chinese New Year.
You don't shave on the Chinese. Now you're going to grow that through the winter, or what?
No, I think it got another 2 or 3 days at best, and then I have a Wednesday business luncheon at the Jones Beach Hotel. I think it will come off for that Wednesday business lunch.
There you go. It's been a long week.
It hasn't been for you, buddy?
You know, it's been a long week. And I got a couple of times. You know, I saw this thing that you posted. And before we start, I have to tell you that David sends me posts throughout the week. And he sent me a very interesting post this past week that said, let's not talk about negativity. Remember that post you sent me? That people want to hear positive things.
They say they want to, but I'm not sure if they really mean it.
But I don't think they do. I got to tell you, you know, there's not a day that doesn't go by. If you were to weigh how many positive things happen in this country or this world in a day, and how many negative things happen in this country or this world during a day, which one do you think is going to take the cake?
A lot more positive. It's
a lot more negative.
No. Listen, I was thinking to myself, and first thing, I'm going to try to start staying calm in front of the camera, because I see getting excited doesn't come across so well. At least in person, the warmth is good. There is so much more good taking place in this world than bad. So let me just make it clear to you. I know you're an attorney, and I just went to school for 1 year and 1 day. Let me finish my thought. They told me you interrupt me with.
Get the attorney.
Let me finish the thought. Hate makes headlines. Love makes the world go round. The show could be over now. Because hate makes headlines. Love makes the world go round. You want to argue that in court?
No. All right. Perfect example. You guys, can you get a close-up of this, Vic? Do you see what it says? All right, this is from the New York Post. You were going to bring it up. Good. So this is your headline. New York Post.
My point on the New York Post, which happens to be in the Post, is supposed to be like silly reading, whatever. I like it. It's easy reading. They got a nice sports section. But on the cover, you know, we try to teach our kids, be respectful, be nice, you know, treat others kind. You know, yet media and politicians disrespect people all the time. So they tell us what we should teach the kids to be good, but they show a different thing. So here we go. Another liberal crybaby for Dems, Clintons, party pooper.
All right, so let me ask you. This is today's paper?
Yes.
You woke up this morning.
Yep.
What positive thing did you have before you picked up that paper? Other than opening your eyes, which we know is positive. Tell me one positive thing that happened in your life, other than waking up, before you bought this paper.
You really want to know? You're asking the wrong person. Hey, so listen. The first thing I did was get up and send out a shout-out to 8,000 Long Island business owners. And the first thing and that was at 6:18 in the morning or so, because the email normally goes out to regular readers at 6:15.
Okay.
And it started with happy Sunday morning.
So that's why you.
So before I saw this negative crap, I started the day by greeting people. Then I went on to Facebook and I saw so many beautiful thoughts from so many beautiful people in the world expressing love.
You're a special person.
No, I'm not. There's a lot of special people in the world. They just don't make headlines.
This is what 90% of the people on Long Island wake up to every morning. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong.
How about single-digit percentage of people even buy this negative crap and don't even pay attention to it? So 90% don't wake up to this. They don't give a crap about it. Thankfully.
I disagree.
Thankfully, they let that love that makes the world go round take its course.
Let me tell you a story real quick.
Yes.
And I've been telling this story because I'm blown away by it. I was in Lowe's yesterday. I'm buying wire because Vicki and I, never-ending. My house is the never-ending construction house. So now we're building these pillars at the end of the driveway, and I have to run wire.
Pillars, I like pillars.
All right, and I'm in Lowe's in Bay Shore, right over here, and I'm standing in the electrical aisle, and they're cutting this wire, right? And I need a lot of it, so it's taking about 20 minutes. So all of a sudden, around the corner comes these two people. Assumably, one's a woman. I know the other one's a man. Arabs, Arabians, whatever you want to call them, all this, let's say she's a woman, fully covered. Only thing that was showing was her eyes. She looked, you know, that's it, through the headdress or whatever it was. And the first thing that comes to my mind is, of course, what's going on overseas, which is a terrible thing, right? Terrible thing. So now I watch them, and I'm noticing they're in the, you know what PVC is?
Something with piping and stuff.
It's pipes. They're white or gray pipes, but they were looking at white PVC. But what I found odd as I'm sitting there waiting for this wire to be cut is they were looking at PVC in all different diameters. 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch. Then what I also found odd is they were only looking at pieces 12 to 18 inches long. I also found odd that the so-called woman, because I couldn't tell, was the one doing the picking. And the guy with the white hat on, the beanie, whatever what do you call him? Whatever,
I'm not sure what.
He was kind of in the back. Then I also found odd that they were both wearing the same kind of boots. They were black boots, like not army boots, but just one step down from an army boot, which I found odd for a woman. Now I'm looking at, you know, my military starts coming out. I start looking at the hands, the feet, the way she's built. I didn't know if it was a man or a woman. And the hands were big. So the manager of Lowe's comes over, and he says to me, you know, is everything all right? I says, you find that odd? And he looked at it, he says, yeah, but we can't do anything about it. I said, but they're looking at pipes, all different diameters. They're not building a bathroom, obviously. Getting to a point. I get on the phone, I go out to my car, because I left my phone in the car, I call 911, Suffolk County. Because I want to report this. I think that there's some suspicious activity. Under normal circumstances, if this crap in Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria wasn't going on, I wouldn't think this way. So I dial 911. And you've reached 911, the emergency. Please hold for the next available attendant. David, I waited on that line for, had to be a good 4 minutes, 5 minutes. We'll be right with you. Your call will be answered in the order it was received. I finally hung up. I called the FBI in Melville. I let them know. They're taking it serious. Make a long story short, after about 5 different phone calls back and forth between the police department, finally I got a hold of them, but I only got a hold of them after the FBI called me 3 times to tell me that I have to call them because the FBI doesn't go out. The police have to send a special terrorist task force out. So after all of this was done, they sent a cop to my house, blah, 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 the whole bit. Last night I get a call from this detective who's, I guess, part of the task force, and he says to me, he says, you know, Mr. Mele, we went to Lowe's, we looked at the tape, we're going to look at it. Things, they don't look copacetic. So he said, expect a phone call from the FBI Monday or Tuesday. Now, negativity. We live in a world after 9/11 where we are forever opening our eyes every day to something that is wrong. And that's when I say negativity is more negativity than positive. I think that we are now in a world where there's more awareness of negative than there is more awareness of positive. And you disagree with that?
Well, it was a different question than initially. You asked me if there's more negative than positive, and I believe there's a much more loving, caring people in the world. One, I got to tell you, while it could be debated and people can make a controversy, man, I'm glad you made that phone call, buddy. You know, I'm glad you made that phone call. You had suspicions raised, rightfully so. You know, we're so man, America is so patient, so open to many things, and wants to bend over backwards to be respectful to different cultures and everything, and have for a long time. And it should be that way, respect and love. But sometimes the common sense has to kick in, as it did for you, and you just saw something that didn't look right.
Well, why? If that was 15 years ago, would I have made the same call?
Possibly not, because maybe the thing of terrorism wouldn't have been in your head, but maybe if it was soon after 9/11, you would have been that much more
and I found one more thing very
thoughtful to make the call.
FBI. They kept on reiterating over and over and over again, we want to thank you very much for making this phone call. We want to thank you very much, which led me to believe that not too many people do, which is a bad thing.
Well, I got to tell you, with this ISIS threat, and it is real, it's because, once again, it's not a country, it's an ideology.
Right.
What you did is going to have to be done more and more. I was actually thinking of it today, thinking it was not going to be a topic on the show. And because it's so sensitive and controversial, yet so necessary. We heard of a beheading recently. And what concerned me, was it Colorado, Oklahoma? I think it was Oklahoma. Oklahoma. But then I also saw that, so there was a beheading, and all the signs were there on Facebook and everything. The guy was praising ISIS, being a proponent of ISIS and stuff. So right away we got this thing in America, you're allowed to think what you think, you're allowed to have freedom and all that, so I get it.
That's not necessarily true. They fired him because he was pushing.
I didn't even know that's why he got fired, but even fine. But we allow the freedom of religion and thought and freedom. So people are allowed to like what they don't want. Yet we have this, it's not called an official war, but this war going on. So the guy had all the symbols out there, no one came after him, but I saw 90 people outside, like, celebrating and supporting this guy yesterday on the street. There was a video of his supporters coming out. So, wow, we have to balance the love and freedom and everything that America wants to offer with, man, if those are 90 people or whatever the number was to come out supporting an ISIS guy, I want to check into these people.
Yeah,
so there's a conflict within myself. American freedom, liberty, and justice for all.
So do you think more and more people are going towards the ISIS regime?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that where's that border of these people are allowed to come and support this man to, hey man, these people support the enemies of the United States of America. They concern me. I want to know who each one of these people are. I would want to know who any ISIS supporter is, because they have anti-American thoughts and they are a damage to our country. They have declared themselves our enemy. I would want no one in the world to be my enemy. Man, I want to spread love to all. But unfortunately, some people are an enemy of our lifestyle and the lifestyle of probably so many in the world. They've declared themselves to be enemies.
I get back to my original thing. Do we wake up every morning to more negative or more positive stories about what's going on in the world? Listen, I would love to come here every Sunday morning and talk about the end of hunger, or there's whatever, the employment issues. Unemployment is the lowest it's been in decades. I would love to talk about that, but the reality, David, that's not the way it is.
You ask a couple of different questions. You say, do we wake up to more stories? We wake up to more negative stories. Negative stories have been a bad habit in the media forever.
And I agree
they bombard us with negativity. So we wake up to more negative stories. Yet, these negative stories are the 1%. The other 99% of the people are spreading love. I don't know why negative stories make
Tony, I want
to ask you something. Why could someone do 199 things right during the day, but they'll concentrate on the one thing that they do wrong? So I don't know why the human mind likes negative stories and
right. I think you're mixing up what is right based on what is normal for that individual. What is normal for that individual doesn't necessarily mean it's right for society. I think that there is more, and this goes back to the media again and again, CNN, Fox, all of these heavy hitters out there. You said it last week. If it bleeds, it reads.
If it bleeds, it leads.
It leads. Okay, I thought it reads. Okay.
If it bleeds,
if it bleeds, it leads.
Yes.
Okay, which is so true. So again, getting back to it, we live in a very negative negative society, negative world.
I want to create the opposite.
Negativity.
I do this show to create the opposite.
I agree.
I want the
with you.
voices of loving, caring people to be heard. I am not brainwashed like Tommy Mele that we're bombarded by negativity. I think hate makes headlines, but most people are loving, caring people, and thank God for us because we make the world go round.
Brainwashed by it.
I don't think you're brainwashed, buddy.
It is reality. All right, it is real. I would love nothing more to have it your way. Trust me, it would be a wonderful world to get up every day, you know, and see the butterflies floating around me, and in a rainbow at night, in the sunshine every day. I would love it. But that's not reality, David. That is so far from reality. Reality is what you see here. Reality is
no, it isn't.
Here.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
The reality.
I can't believe you really think that.
Because this is what I'm not saying reality as that this is right. I'm saying the reality is that this world that we live in, whether we want to admit it or not, is based more on negative than positive. That's what it's based on. I would love nothing more than to say, you know what, we cured world hunger.
If it was based on negative, the world wouldn't even exist. If it was based on negative, if it was based on this hatred, it wouldn't even exist.
No.
What it is hate makes headlines so people get fooled.
Why?
Don't let because it sells more papers. It's not complicated. It's hate sells more papers. The negatives, maybe because it's the aberration. Maybe because when people do get up in the morning and say good morning, do you know that every time someone holds the door open for someone in the morning? Man, that's an act of kindness. Every time someone says good morning, how you doing today, buddy? I hope you have a great day. That's an act of kindness. Do you know that the dozens of charities that are supported this week are done by loving, caring people? Yes. You're saying this like it's fact, so I want to tell you that you're wrong. This crap makes the headlines. Loving people make the world go round.
Did you ever watch?
Thanks to my sponsors for giving me the opportunity to let me tell you that.
Did you ever watch a movie, and at the end of the movie, it is so sensitive and so caring and so loving that you cry?
Yeah, first movie.
A lot of those.
Ever seen Dumbo? I cried at Dumbo. It was a very sad movie.
It's starting to scare me now.
Dumbo is a sad movie.
I watched a movie where there was this, I think it was with John Travolta, and if you remember the movie, it was when, I forget the other actor, but John Travolta was a villain in this particular movie, and I'll never forget it that he tried to use nuclear missiles to blow it up. I forget the name of it, but this other actor and this girl, at the end, when the nuclear missile blew up, they were worried that there was radiation, and all of a sudden they were out near this lake and they saw all these butterflies. And it was such a unique thing. So I would say that the human being is more sensitive to positive than they are to negative, because if you look at a movie, and I hope I'm getting this thought out right, did you ever sit there and get emotionally upset over the negative? Or does the body get emotionally, not upset, but emotional over the positive? More emotional over the positive. That's why women cry at these love stories that end well. That's why, you know, people cry at these movies that end well, like Free Willy and everything. Those are positive thoughts. Granted, I think it is in our nature to want to have positive thoughts, but it is reality that this world today is built over negatives. With that, I am getting yelled at out there. Where am I? Where am I? Over here? Okay, I'm getting yelled at out there. We have to cut the commercial, but we'll be right back after this. You're with David and Tom here on Sunday morning. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
My name is Dr. Robert Brevard. I'm here for Multi-Medicine in Westbury, New York. We're located at 1065 Old Country Road, Suite 214. Been here for about 15 years. The practice has medical doctors, physical therapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists. We also do pain management, and we have orthopedists on staff. Here at Advanced Multi-Medicine Rehabilitation, we've got physical therapists on staff who treat an array of conditions, from neck pain to back pain, shoulder pain. We treat carpal tunnel. We treat a lot of car accident patients, slip and falls. We treat patients with knee injuries, with ankle injuries. We have state-of-the-art equipment. We've been here for over 15 years. Vast array of diagnostic testing, from x-rays to EMGs. What is an EMG? It's a diagnostic test that allows a doctor to determine where the pinched nerve is. Cora is a physical therapist at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. She's working on Stephanie, who was involved recently in an automobile accident. Stephanie has tight thoracic and cervical musculature, and Cora is doing some myofascial release work and some therapeutic stretching, doing it to help her with her pain. Vicky is also a patient here at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. Vicky is now working her leg muscles, specifically her quadricep muscles, trying to strengthen them after an injury she sustained. If you find yourself in need of any type of physical therapy, please don't hesitate to call Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation, located in Westbury, New York, in Suite 214. Phone number is 516-334-7000, or find us on our website at advancedmultimedicine.com.
Welcome back. I'm Tom Mele. I'm here with David Gussin. You know, I agree with Dave 110% that there should be a lot of more love and peace and harmony in the world. But let's face it, folks, the reality is that there's not.
Man, you know, as I drove here today, I was like, what's Tommy going to do to rile me up today? And he's already getting me started. Once again, you're giving false information. What it is there's a lot more love in this world, and it's just that hate makes headlines. But
there was an article in here this morning I was reading. You know these bad teachers, the ones that they want to get rid of?
Man, most teachers are good teachers, but tell me about the bad ones.
The bad ones that they want to get rid of.
Most police officers are good police officers, but tell me about the bad ones.
The teacher.
Go on.
All right. There's an article in here. It says bad teacher, okay, pays to stay. I'm going to give you an example. Can you guys see that, Vic? Can you put on that bad teacher pays to stay? You know what that means? That means that in our world, okay, that our education system says if you're a bad teacher, instead of kicking you out and bringing in a good teacher, like my daughter-in-law, who's been trying to get a job for the longest time, finally did. I'm very proud of her. All right, she's a good teacher. Bad teachers that should go out, now, David, our education system is saying, you know what? You're a bad teacher. It's proven that you're not teaching our kids correctly. I tell you what, pay a fine, you have your job back. Bad teachers pay to stay. Explain that.
Listen, I don't need to be a genius for the world on stuff like this. Stuff like corruption's existed. This one paid to stay. This teacher who have sex with children and could end up staying in the system, especially in New York. Especially in New York City. No, they got all the union rules and everything. Listen, I'm not going to use this show to concentrate on each corruption in this world. We could have a show for years, and we'll just be like everyone else. What I do want to do, Tommy, as long as it's okay with you, is I want to thank, at least in this case, our Long Island business community, and not even just our sponsors, but all the businesses who support the different medias, whether it be ours, the different networking, the papers. We only get to express ourselves because of their support of what we do. You haven't known me that long, but everything that you're picking on today, it's like you're sticking a pin in me. And that's because...
I don't want to do that.
And that's because... Our whole thing has always been one about igniting business, and that's because in order to create a resource or something, you need to create business. That's where the money comes from. But my term, not for the 4 weeks we've had a show together, but for the last 7 years, is goodness speaking up. It has always been in a world where hate makes headlines, goodness needs to speak up. So I think you've given me 3 or 4 examples of crap that's going on in this world, picking instances. Man, I want to tell you, every day, every week, every month, in this region, the Long Island business community comes together, create beautiful business activity. We've had some wonderful guests together.
Absolutely.
Whether it be the one woman who does Shoes for All or the woman who does The Inn. Today, in our next segment, we're going to have a gentleman named Paul Levine. Paul inspires me, building his business for 20 years and getting out there and doing stuff. But this week alone, because you're telling me about all the bad, let me tell you about some good stuff going on Long Island right now. Coming up a week from Monday, the Fight for Charity at Carlisle at the Palace. This place has raised over $1 million in the last 10 years for Long Island charities. This Wednesday at a place called Launchpad in Huntington. Launchpad has a place in Mineola. They have a place in Huntington. Sort of like a little bit something like Shark Tank. But it's a place where businesses in Long Island are supposed to come if they have ideas. A woman named Helen Zagaro is sponsoring a lunch break there. So on one end, she's bringing business people together, and I think she's going to support the inn. My point is Helen Zagaro don't make the newspaper. Mary Carlson from last week doesn't make the newspaper. Many people haven't heard of the inn. They run 22 homes on Long Island. Man, these people make the world go round. I want to give a particular shout out to this show's sponsors. Let me not forget any of them. Gente, New York, world-class clothing, right here in Melville, Long Island. I think they're opening up in Woodbury. Paul Wagner. Paul's been a fan of this business community stuff, business and community working together for 6 years now. He's a real estate attorney. My friend James Cruz owns Premier Jewelry and Watch Company. Man, worked with Fortune for 20 plus years. Another truly world-class jeweler. And then last week we had podiatrist Mary Carlson on. I literally deal with hundreds of Long Island businesses. I just want to thank them all, Tommy. Because of them, I get to come here and debate with a guy like you on Sunday morning. You're saying a lot of crap this morning.
Let me tell you something. There's a lot of crap in the headlines. However, you're absolutely right. It's people like our sponsors that are way above all of this stuff here.
Our sponsors times 100. Love makes the world go round. That's my point for today. Love makes the world go round.
But it's people like you and me, David. I would love nothing more. You and I both do this. We do a lot of charity work. We sponsor a lot of individuals that need help. We expose people of extreme talents and people that care on this show. That's what we do. We expose them so that they can get an opportunity.
Give them a platform to be heard.
We are now doing something. So, folks, if you don't know already, David, I know that you know, tonight at the John Ennington, I hope I say that right, I always say it wrong, Theater in Northport. Rosemary, everybody knows Rosemary. She's a wonderful girl. She's, the foundation is raising money to give 22 homes away to people, disabled veterans, Purple Heart recipients that were either maimed, extremely hurt, or did heroic deeds during these past 15 or 20 years, I guess, that we've been involved in war. We are giving away or raising money to give away 22 mortgage-free homes. It's people like Rosemary. It's people like, the Inn. It's people like our guest today that make a difference. And it's those people, and this show's basis is to expose those people to the world to show that there isn't all negativity in the world. I agree with you.
No, I agree. Before you said David would like more people to be loving and positive. That's not really true. I believe most people, thankfully, are loving and positive. I just like to give them a voice, because if I thought I had to make more people like that, I'd be a pain in the ass. Who am I? I believe in the goodness of people. While this stuff makes the headlines, I believe...
But why is that?
We were into that. It's because of ratings, Tom. It's not complicated. It's because of ratings. I want to imagine this. If 10 million people are watching Oprah, that means 290 million people aren't. So just in America. So just because it makes the headlines as the most popular or makes the headline doesn't mean it's the way it is. Because the rest of the people are out living their lives. And I'm going to tell you something.
I'd like to see if Channel 12 is going to be there tonight to expose this wonderful thing that's happening.
I hope they are, but most important thing to me in this show, the way it's been laid out so far, loving, caring. People make the world go round. If I don't get that point, that's the only point I need to get across in regard to this.
Make the world go round.
Yep. Yes. Don't believe the headlines. Don't believe the headlines.
There's a lot of crap out there, and you know it, and I know it.
Let's do something about it.
That's what we're doing.
If there's a lot of crap, let's do something about it.
This was to get these people exposed to the world, like our guest today, and the guests we've had on here. That woman who gave away shoes, that's still for days after. What was her first name again?
That's Dr. Mary Carlson.
Right. She took on an organization to give shoes to people who can't afford to buy. People like her should be given the Medal of Honor, because people like her is what I think that what society needs to know more about.
Goodness needs to speak up.
So we should create a magazine then, instead of the New York Times or something like that, we should do a magazine about all the good that goes on.
Not exactly sure about that. A good newspaper wouldn't work. People say that. There needs to be that balance.
Point. Okay, with that, when we come back from this commercial, we're going to have our guest here today. He's a great guy.
He is.
I had a chance to talk with him in the green room
Love
today.
him.
I got to tell you, you know, I always wondered if an organization like that existed, because I have this problem. I'm not going to tell you what it is until we come back. But I always wondered if something like that happened, and then, boom, there he is.
What a fine young man. He's an inspiration to me. I hope he's an inspiration to our viewers.
So don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to have our guest for this morning, and we'll move it on. Don't go anywhere. We're right back.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tom Dow. We have a multidisciplinary practice in Melville and Ronkonkoma, New York, and we treat patients with many, many different conditions, from newborns through geriatric patients with numerous different techniques. There's a technique and a type of treatment for every class of patient. We have them all here. Here's my son Thomas, also a doctor of chiropractic, working on one of our patients' cervical spine. This patient has had chronic neck pain for many, many, many years, has been to a multitude of different practitioners with little or no response. And with our specialized techniques, she has improved tremendously and continues to improve on a daily basis. We have two practices, one in Melville and one in Ronkonkoma, New York. We are a multidiscipline chiropractic office. What that means is we have chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, psychologists, all working as a team and a network of outside professionals such as orthopedists and neurologists that we work hand in hand with to help determine what your injuries are and the best way to treat your injuries. I have the great pleasure of having my son in practice with me. We work hand in hand, father and son, to give our patients the best care possible, and a staff which is loving, caring, and you'll never have to wait at all in our office for service. Many times patients come into our office and they have what's called a soft tissue injury. Soft tissue injuries are like scars inside your body. If you've ever been cut on the outside of your body, you get a scar. The same thing happens inside of your body to your muscles and ligaments. So our job is to determine where those are, stretch the muscles, adjust the vertebra back into their correct position, and then refortify the normal structure with exercise. That's what we do best, and I hope someday you'll come see us at one of our two offices. Thank you.
It goes in.
And we're back. Man, before we bring on our next guest, who's everything, while I do this show, once again, a shout out to our sponsors, Giorgente New York, Premier Jewelry and Watch Company, Dr. Mary Carlson, and the law offices of Peter Wagner. Thank you all for making what we do possible. Tommy, me and you were arguing, or debating, having conversation amongst friends in the earlier part of the show, but in the end we said, man, we want this to be a platform to give a voice to people in the community.
Yes.
Our next guest is Paul Levine. Hey, my buddy Paul, how you doing?
Nice to have you.
Pleasure to be here.
Paul, it's called Horticulture 2000 is your company?
Yep.
So, and I saw you and Tommy doing some business even before it started, but Paul, his company's going to be celebrating their 20th anniversary, but me and you have known each other for years, buddy. You have a way of expressing so eloquently and beautifully things that I care about, hard work, building your business and all that it takes to survive in this world.
Yes.
You know, mixed with doing good stuff in the community.
Sure.
And you just lay it right out there. You know my buddy Tom Mele?
I just met him today. He seems like a great guy.
He has a law office. I think some plants in there.
Don't judge me by the cover. You have an amazing business that I never even knew existed. And this is what's important about this show, Dave, because we bring people like yourself out there and other people, and I find myself, I'm pretty knowledgeable about what's out in the community. I had no clue. Tell us about your business.
Well, what we do is very unique. I go into people's offices once a week, and I take care of all the interior plants and flowers, flowering plants, and I take all the stress work out of it. And I also get people plants who need plants, so if they don't even have to go out and get plants. I'll do the plant work for them and get it for them. And this way they enjoy their offices, and I just make the plants a nice, healthy-looking place, and it enhances the look of your offices.
You know, and I got to tell you something. When you told me what you charge for this, I was blown away, because I'm thinking a totally different figure in my head. And it is so inexpensive that my trees, like you see behind us, I think I'm going to convert over to real trees and have him come in once a month and actually take care of this.
That would be beautiful.
I sit at my desk
Yes.
in my office, and I have a lot of plants. I love plants. I have live plants in my office. And because I have this huge, big window.
Of course, he has a big window, Paul. What would we expect from Mr. Mele?
And, you know, I overlook the western side of the building, which is where the sun sets, more or less. It's actually exactly due west. And I find myself not taking care of my plants. And I'll come in one morning and I'll see the leaves are starting to wilt down. And I'll say, okay, time to feed you. Geez, when was the last time I gave you water? Oh, that was 2 weeks ago. All right. What I also find myself doing, and I got to ask you, is my coffee. I have a tree right next to my desk.
Yes.
And I say, can't hurt. And I dump the coffee in the tree.
Yes.
That tree is doing unbelievable.
Yes.
Tell me why coffee in the tree is doing unbelievable.
The reason is because it has nutrients that actually give the soil fertilizer. It's a way, in an indirect way, fertilizer to the plants. There's some kind of vitamin in there. The plants like it, and it promotes growth.
Would it matter if it had sugar or not? And I'm thinking to myself, will it cause an odor over time? Before we start having everyone throw coffee in their
What
plants.
odor over time? It doesn't cause odor over time.
I don't know. I'm asking
Oh,
the
you're
expert.
really? Oh, okay,
I'm not
I'm sorry.
stating, I'm asking.
Usually,
I don't want to stick you with a pin again.
like I say, you do a little coffee now and then. What you do, nothing's going to happen. I mean, if you spill huge amounts of coffee, that's another story. But what you do, little amounts, nothing is going to
Jack and a
happen.
beanstalk.
You know, it just gives it a little extra fertilizer. But I've seen people who put whole pots of coffee. That's another story. But what you do, it'll promote growth.
Now, you started
That's
your
amazing.
business in '95 with no clients, and maybe just you had done some work with the horticulture place and learned.
Yes.
And you've built it up one client at a time.
Yes.
You got quite a few clients now, don't you?
30 to be exact.
30 clients in Long Island and New York City?
Yes.
Well, do you visit them once a week, once a month?
Once a week.
Because that's what
You
it
go
takes.
through all 30 once a week. That's got to be a rigorous schedule for you.
Not really. It's actually fun. I could probably do another 10 and still easily have time to do everything else.
Good. Let's get his done, and we'll still keep.
No,
doing
I
that.
really would like it because, you know, I mean, at our office, I like when I walk into an office and there's trees and plants, it gives you a certain kind of a good feeling, you know?
Good
It's
stuff.
not a stale situation. And to have you come in and to take care of these and take that burden, you know, during the day, you know, especially with a lot of businesses on Long Island, you know, we're constantly in the race to come in, to get things done. We have our staff, we have billing, we have shipment, or, you know, we have receiver. It's a nightmare when you walk through that. I always said that owning your own business at 9 o'clock, it's like being at the racetrack. The gates open up at 9 o'clock,
And you're up.
and that's it. They don't hit the finish line until 5 minutes to 5 at night. And during that race, it's always, you're running hard. And when do you have time to go into the kitchen? Even if you have a kitchen in your office, a lot of offices don't. They got to go down the hall to the bathroom. They got to fill up the bucket. They got to. It's a pain. You take all that out of there, all that worry away.
Yeah. My buddy Paul, Tom, and I haven't seen you in networking. We met in different functions. Paul's an avid networker. I know you went to Toastmasters.
Yes.
Toastmasters is a place where they help you learn how to speak more, and then Paul's actually a leader of a Toastmasters
yes.
now. I got respect for that. Me, I wouldn't go to a Toastmasters class. I'd be like, Toastmasters, why does someone need to go to speak? But
all right, fill me in again, because Toastmasters, again, you're hitting me again with something new.
You hang out with me all the time. I hang out with my buddies. I'm going to let Paul tell you. What's Toastmasters, Paul?
Toastmasters is a group. If you want to improve your public speaking skills, that's the place to go. And I've been a member of SIASA Toastmasters for the past 4 years, and I'm now the president of the group. And public speaking to me is one of the most enjoyable things I like to do. I like to give talks on things I'm passionate about, and the group has really showed me. Now, when I speak, you know, David, I will go out and speak right in front of an audience, but it showed me different techniques how to improve my speaking. So that's the one.
I invited you here because when I hear you speak, everyone listens to you, and you get to make some wonderful points. Because, Tommy, I know you always have your own thing you might want to ask. You have time to ask Paul the three most important things he sees are the biggest tips in networking? Because when they come from me, they're a bit biased. Maybe my buddy has some insight for us.
I do, but I want to ask you, does this organization take the fear of public speaking away as well?
Yeah.
Some people have a lot of problems. People want to get up and say what's on their mind, but sometimes when they get in front of an audience, they freeze.
Amazing. The number one fear, they say, is public. I find out the number one fear of public speaking.
I never really had that fear. I don't know why.
Yes.
I don't know whether you're born without having it or you're born with it, or I don't. You got to get past. It's like, I guess, like flying. Right?
You're an expert. What is it?
I would say that to get over your fear of public speaking, you really need to go to a group that will let you get over your fear in public speaking. You realize you're not alone. I could tell you there are many people who've come to our group who are terrified of public speaking, and the best thing I tell them, do your icebreaker speech. You're not alone. Most of the room is terrified of speaking. They've been in your shoes because whatever the reason is, speaking in let's say 10 people or 100 people, don't make the difference. Scares the heck out of them.
Why are they afraid to get up and speak publicly?
My opinion is they don't want to look bad. That's the reason. They're afraid they're going to look bad and people are going to look down at them in a way. And it may sound a little silly, but that's when I've asked people why are they nervous, that's the big reason they've told me. They don't want to look bad and make a mistake.
Were you afraid at first, or you just wanted to get better at it?
I wanted to get better at it. I love to go out there. I don't care if I make a mistake. I'm only human. But that's the number one reason people are afraid to do it.
Networking, building other people. You built the company from nothing into almost celebrating your 20-year anniversary with all these accounts and a business. You're not the owner. Give us your top 3 tips and thoughts. And what's your first tip on networking, buddy?
The first tip on networking, when you go to a group, you must meet with the people. If you go to, like when I went to one of your events, I got 5 or 6 business cards. I emailed the people the next day. Within the next 2 or 3 weeks, I met these people one-on-one. It's the one-on-one meetings that really makes the networking.
So not online, but actually sitting down for coffee or something?
Sitting down for coffee, or more important than coffee, I believe a meal, lunch, dinner, breakfast. Coffee's not enough. You got to
pick up the tab.
We usually split it. That's how we do it. We split it, but I'll tell you, it's really the best way because you get to know them, they get to know you. It's a non-pressure environment. Before you do business, you have to have that relationship. You have to have that level of trust. And after that first meeting, you'll know if you trust this person or if you think this person is just out for the dollar.
Mm-hmm. I've seen you speak both pro and con on stuff.
Yes.
I've been asked about networking. Key to your business, what do you think's been the most important thing to you? Is it always just doing a good job? Is it your hard work, tenaciousness? You talked about telemarketing to me earlier. Well, what is it that helps you?
The biggest to help me get business, or that's kept me in business?
Combination, help you build your business.
Okay. The number one thing that I would say that's kept me in business all these years is the loyalty of my customers. When they hire me, it's very important to me that their decision isn't just a business decision, but it's a personal decision as well. I make them part of the decision, not just me, but they feel they have something invested in me. That's the first thing. Second thing is they see my work. That is everything. You have to show good work, and you have to get fair prices. If you jack up the prices like crazy, they're going to know it. They're going to be annoyed.
When I've seen you at networking events, you don't always come and say positive. There's some things you don't like. What could be better from what you see with all this networking, in your opinion?
I would say not in all groups, but in some groups, when the new people come, that the new people are made to feel welcome. Not everybody is like me, who's going to go over, who's going to talk to people, who's going to make connections. Because when I go to a group, I'm coming out with business cards, and there are going to be meetings out of it. But if you get somebody who's a little more shy, they could be felt very much left out, and that's the scary part of networking. And the best advice I can give to these people is you got to go to these networking groups and just get past the fear, because it's that first or second event you go to that's going to scare the heck out of you.
Hey, Tommy was bothering me before a little bit, telling me not negative in this world and positive. Who knows? You might agree with him. You're a regular citizen just like us. What's your take on all this negative and positive in this world, buddy?
There's both negative and there's both positive. I hear the negative. I listen to the news. I'm informed. All I can do is be me. I like to be positive because there's enough negative stuff going on in the world. I know what's going on. I listen to the news all the time. But that's not me. I try to be the positive one.
I stuck him with needles. Next week I'm going to stick him with a dagger.
All right, guys.
No, listen. What you're doing is fabulous. I really like what you're doing. We're going to continue with this in a few minutes, but right now we're going to cut for a fast commercial break. Got to pay the bills. We'll be right back after this message. Don't go anywhere. We're here with David and Paul. Be right back.
Are you planning an event and want to include entertainment, but you're not sure where to turn? Act1Entertainment.net has provided over 1,500 events with quality, affordable live entertainment at private parties, corporate affairs, festivals, bike rallies, and more. Act 1 will fit into your budget. They're friendly, reliable, and do all the legwork for you. They take all major credit cards. Log on to Act1Entertainment.net for a free, no-obligation price quote, or call 631-758-3505 for a brochure. You'll be happy you did.
Welcome to Formula Auto Wash, where every day is a great day for a car wash. Open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Sundays 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. Detailing packages for every budget, starting out at $29.99. 100% hand wash and detail centre. Hogshair and microfiber brushes and mitts. Proudly using Ecolab Blue Coral soaps and waxes. Formula Auto Wash has served the community for over 30 years. Senior discounts all day, every day. Ladies' Day Wednesday, $3 off any wash. Early bird discount Monday through Thursday till 9:30 a.m. Check out our website, formulaautowash.com.
Technical Worldwide Tattoo Supply is one of the largest suppliers in the world and your #1 resource for top quality, affordable tattoo and piercing supplies. Technical Worldwide Tattoo Supply is the #1 supplier of tattoo inks in the world with more than 200 products including Mom's Ink, Philadelphia Eddie's Traditional Inks, Paolini Sacred Color Inks, and more. Technical Worldwide Tattoo Supply, your one-stop shopping destination for great service, best prices, and top quality supplies. Coney Island Carlos vintage wines and premium spirits are undeniably distinctive, selected for their unique, memorable flavor. Coney Island Carlos vintage wines and premium spirits are delivered to you in beautifully designed bottles featuring limited edition artwork. Coney Island Carlos vintage wines and premium spirits are available at affordable prices in fine restaurants, bars, and liquor stores. Or check www.coneyislandcarlo.com for availability.
And we're back. Paul, man, after people liked you so much, you're going to be ending the show with us on this last segment. A shout out to libraries across Long Island. My buddy Paul says he's looking for speaking engagements at libraries. You tell me that helps you. Is that correct, buddy?
Yes, I have a few speaking engagements already at a few libraries. I like to share my knowledge on horticulture. I know people have a lot of questions about plants, so I will usually give a 35 to 40-minute talk on plants. And people like to have plants in their homes and stuff. They would like to know how to take care of it better, so I'm going to show them tips how to do it. So when they get their plants are going to look good all the time.
Yeah, I wanted to tell the people about igniting business, but you know, my boss over here, he writes me the checks. He has more plant questions.
There is no boss thing here. Okay, you know, he had too much coffee this morning. Anyway, no, what I wanted to ask you was, does it matter whether you have 2 plants or 22 plants?
No.
It doesn't matter.
No.
Okay, so the price stays the same.
No. If you have, let's say, 6 plants, it's going to be one thing. If you have 22 plants, it'll be a little higher because I charge usually on the number of plants.
The number of
plants. But it's usually a good price. It's a fair price to the office.
Yeah. Well,
is that what you meant? The price? The
yeah,
same?
Based on what you told me before, it was very inexpensive. In fact, I'm very surprised. But okay, let me ask you a question. You go into the office. You make sure there's no dead leaves. You take all the leaves that have fallen off the trees or the plants. You snip them. Do you fertilize them? Do you feed them? Do you water them? And this is done once a week.
I water them once a week. Fertilizing I don't do too often. I'm more against fertilizing than for it because too much fertilizer will burn the roots on some of the plants. So it depends how often. I usually do it once every 6 months and stuff, but not as often as people like. I'm more for less fertilizing than over-fertilizing.
But that doesn't change the price?
No, that does not.
And your background, your education with horticulture, did you go to school for this? Did you learn on the fly?
I did go to SUNY Farmingdale for horticulture. I went to Nassau Community College for marketing. And I would say for my plant business, most of the stuff I just did on my own. It wasn't anything I learned in Farmingdale. It was just going out there, knowing how much. I know I have systems for watering the plants. I know exactly how to fertilize it. The insects are non-existent because I know how to combat the insects.
That was a problem I was having. I noticed I had a lot of fruit flies coming on into the summer.
Yes.
Around my trees, and it used to drive me crazy.
Yes.
So fruit flies, they lay eggs in the fertilizer, in the soil, correct?
Yeah, what I do is I put a spray in there. I have a spray that kills that. This way, not just does it kill the current fruit flies, but it'll kill the eggs. And then we put these yellow strips in there. That'll catch the fruit flies. That is a major help. You're going to see a difference.
So that's important. I know that, you know, a lot of businesses, one of the reasons they don't have plants is because of the fruit flies.
Because most of the people just come in, water the plants, and that's it. You have to have a system for watering the plants. The plants can't sit in excess water. And also, if you have fruit flies, you have to have a system. Spray it once a week if you have a problem. Those yellow strips will help.
One last question that I have for people at home that may want to have you come into their homes,
yes,
or even some businesses. Cats.
Yeah.
They love to dig in the dirt, and all of a sudden they're spraying, they're peeing, they're defecating in there.
Yes.
What is your solution to that?
Most of the plants are not going to be poisonous.
We're not going to shoot the cat.
Right,
we're not shooting the cat.
Right. There's one thing that people have asked me about cats is, are any plants poisonous to cats? And except for the poinsettias, you know, the holiday plants, it's not going to do any harm to the plant. So if the cats go into plants, they won't be harmed. There's no danger.
I'm worried about the plant.
Anyway, to keep the cats away from the plant so we can't mess with them.
Get me straight, because you know, I would love to take my cats, because I have cats.
Yeah.
That'd be nice to know cats.
I'm down to 1 cat now.
Yeah.
1 cat and 1 bulldog, thank God. So, but when I had 3 or 4 cats in the house, my wife loved cats, you know, I would find them digging in the dirt and urinating in the dirt.
Yeah.
That ultimately affects the tree or the plant. How do you combat that?
The best thing, because I had somebody who actually had a cat and she had plants at home, what she did, and she told me this, is she trained the cat not to go near the plant.
But you can't train a cat. So, I mean, is there something you can put in the soil that's going to deter them from going, other than putting nail spikes through it?
If there is, I'd be lying to you. I wouldn't take a chance because you don't know if it's going to be poisonous to the cat or harmful to the cat. So I would not be telling you the truth if I said there's a great thing that's going to keep cats away.
Now one last thing, because this is what I did, and you tell me whether this is good or bad.
Okay.
I have this huge tree in my sunroom. It's got to be, I don't know, 14 feet high.
Okay.
It's in a big pot, almost a little smaller than the circumference of this table.
Okay.
So what I did, because the cat loved to go in there and dig and do his thing, and then I'd come in, oh God, he went in the tree.
Cats are bad.
So what I did was I went to the store and I bought a round piece of wood that they make a tabletop.
Yes.
And I cut it in half, and I made a hole in the center, and it fits together like a puzzle over the dirt.
Sure.
I noticed that the tree started to stunt, and it wasn't growing as fast as it usually did. Now, this is over a period of, let's say, a year.
Yeah.
When we removed that, after we're down to one cat now who doesn't go in the tree,
Yeah.
the tree is now growing, and I see new leaves. Is there a reason behind that?
One interesting thing about a lot of trees and stuff, especially trees that size, it could go through periods, especially if you've had it for a long time, where it has periods where it doesn't really grow, then all of a sudden it just shoots up like crazy.
So that wood that I put in there to stop the cat from going in had no bearing on it?
If it did, it would have a little bearing on it, but for the most part, it's just that trees just go through periods where it just doesn't grow, and then all of a sudden it just shoots up
Sort of
like
like
crazy.
a kid who grows 5 inches over the summer type of thing.
But does the sun or the light have to get to the dirt and the soil?
It has something to do with it, but if you've had this tree for this long in the same spot, then you...
Well, I've only had, see, the tree was given to me.
Right.
All right, and I noticed that when I put this thing in there, the tree stopped.
Yeah.
All right, growing. And when I took it off, so my question is,
yes,
does the soil
yes.
and the roots that are top surface roots require sunshine?
To some degree. As long as it gets light, that's the main thing. Whether it's
the tree or the soil?
The tree. Soil makes no difference. The tree.
Soil makes no difference.
No.
Thank you, Paulie. I know you judge your season by poinsettias, which aren't good for cats. How many poinsettias did you sell last year?
Poinsettias, I sold 392.
So we want to sell more than 392. That's a big part of his business. We want to sell a lot more poinsettias than that. My producers are telling me we have about 2 minutes left. Once again, want to thank our sponsors, Premier Jewelry and Watch Company, Dr. Mary Carlson, the law offices of Peter J. Wagner, and, of course, Giagente, New York. Hey, buddy, you know, I didn't have you on the show because you're a great horticulturalist, and you are, 20 years, 40-something customers, sold 392 poinsettias. And while you are an expert on networking, that's not exactly what you want. I just want you to know that I enjoy your spirit, buddy, that you inspire me. Me and Tommy, before when we were talking, we said, like all I do in my marketing, I hope to give this as a platform so people like yourself could be heard, man. Hard-working business people in the world. We got a minute and change left. That means you got about 15, 20 seconds. What's the best advice you could give Long Islanders, buddy? Shake them up.
The best advice I can give is to go after your dreams, whatever your dreams may be, and get yourself out there. That's what it is. Life is too short not to go after your dreams, and you have to be like people like David and Tom and give, because before you get, you have to give. That's my advice.
Point.
Who's getting the last word today, me or you?
Well, I want to just let everybody know, please mark your calendar. This is very important. December 7th at Revolutions in Amityville. Madhousetv has joined together with Rockin' Inc. MC. Jay Nova does a show here on Monday nights at 8 o'clock for one of the biggest parties that we've ever thrown. Now, if any of you have ever been to any of our get-togethers, any of our parties here at the studio or elsewhere, they're always exciting. We're expecting over 500 people. There will be 3 very well-known bands that are going to be playing that night. We're going to be looking into some giveaways. So please, the ticket is $15, folks. That's not a lot of money to join and be part of one of the biggest parties on Long Island for 2014. We will be filming this for future broadcasts. So mark your calendar, December 7th. Probably going to start around 8 o'clock, David. All right, and there's going to be a lot of people down there. Talk about a networking party. This is going to be the party to beat all parties. Mark your calendar. We will see you here next week, same time, same place. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Be healthy, be happy, and David, spread.
Man, spread positive. Get out there and make things happen. Hate makes headlines. Fully. Loving, caring people change the world. Let's get to it.
See you next week.
Have a great week, everyone.
Very cool. Very cool. I